didn't work. Hey, what's going on YouTube? So today we are back with another video. The Subaru still does not go into gear, and have a couple ideas of what it could be, so let's jump in and see if those are it. So a few of the problems I think it could be are either the pressure pad and or the clutch fork. In both cases I believe that the transmission has to be pulled, so let's go ahead and dive into that and get the transmission pulled out and take a look at what's going on. So before we can actually take the entire transmission out, there's a few things in the way, like the exhaust and the cross member, the intercooler. So let's go ahead and get some of that out of the way, and then we can get access to the actual transmission bolts. Okay, we got the car up in the air. Next thing we need to do is go ahead, remove the exhaust, the drive shaft, the pinch stop up on top, and any wiring that goes to the transmission. I'll touch back with you after that.
I'm walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight.
We did get both the axles out. We took the exhaust off right here. We got the drive shaft out up here, and we loosened all these bolts to this bracket that's holding the transmission up. And then we also got the starter taken out. We also then undid the O2 bung for the exhaust, and then up on top up here is a connection for the transmission that we took out. So everything is unbolted and ready to come out. So let's go ahead and drop the transmission. All right guys, so it's a little hard to see down here, so I didn't record any of it, but this bracket goes on the bottom of the transmission, which holds it up. So I got that off, so that's going on right here. Now I also got a jack ready, and the transmission is ratchet strapped to the jack. Now I went ahead and took out all the bolts around the transmission, leaving the opposite side of this nut on over there. And now I'm at the top of the transmission, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna wiggle it off the dowels. So originally this bracket is right here, so I went ahead and took that off so I could have more access to the transmission. And I took a little putty knife that was kind of ground down a little bit, and I put it in between here, and then just kind of hammered it until it got down in there. Once I made a big enough groove, I took a slightly bigger one, hammered it down in there, and now I'm just rocking this back and forth so that we can go ahead and separate the transmission from the engine and off the dowels.
Feel like a dynamite, ready to explode right up in the sky. I need you to listen, I need you to hear.
All right guys, so I think I figured out the problem here. It definitely is the clutch fork. So I'll have to go ahead and take that out and order a new one. So this is actually how it goes together. There's actually a clip behind there that ties in between this and that piece, and then comes down here, and that clip goes onto that ball. Okay, just got back from the parts store. So we got our parts, and these are the part numbers. And also got a new throw bearing here. I don't believe this one's bad, but I don't really want to have to come in and change it out again. So just went ahead and got a new one of those. And this is our new clutch fork. It's the exact same as this one. obviously not broken. So let's go ahead and get that thrown back together.
anything. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly.
Also on this transmission, before we put it back in there, I'm going to replace this axle seal here. It started leaking and I have already previously replaced the other side. This is the part number, and I'm pretty sure it's the same for both sides. It's a universal seal, so let's go ahead and change it out.
The sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight.
Alright guys, update time. Went ahead, put together a transmission jack so that way it'd be easier and safer in the shop to go ahead and put the transmission up in there. Took like 3 hours to wiggle it into place, and then went ahead and got all the bolts and everything and kind of just walked it in, and went ahead and hooked up the shift linkage and everything, and went and pushed in the clutch after I hooked up the slave cylinder, and everything goes together just fine. Nothing's binding, so we're gonna go ahead and finish buttoning this up. So we went ahead and threw the brackets and all the exhaust and drive shaft and everything on underneath the car. Also, there's a few brackets and wiring that we needed to attach above the car, so we went ahead and buttoned that up. Now I'm going to go ahead and take the wheels off, go ahead and throw the axles in, and just kind of run through and check at all the bolts one more time to make sure everything's good to go.
London to Taiwan, I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us.
Now, I didn't mention this on the last side, but I did mark my bolts with a green mark here. Also, you can see my other green mark up on top over here. This bolt is ob-round, and that will mess with your camber on this wheel. So you're gonna wanna, and the bolt does also have little marks on it.
Is all we'll ever trust. Yeah. No, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Didn't work. So it's actually been a few days since we completed the car. I ended up driving it to work a few days and it ran great. Then all of a sudden, one time it wouldn't start. So took the starter off, kind of moved it around a little bit and moved the ground a little bit, cleaned everything up really nicely, and it fired up. Went to go tighten everything down, put it all back together, went to go fire it up again, and it didn't work. So I unhooked the starter, took it in, had it tested, and it ended up failing. So we're gonna go ahead and throw a new starter on the car now and see if it starts. I didn't have my tripod with me the other day when this problem happened, so I ended up just taking the intercooler off and locating the starter, which is right here, right where that ground should be hooked up to. So we went ahead, took it off, took it in, got it tested, and it failed, like I said. So we got another one. Let's go ahead and get that thrown back in the car and see if it works now. That is a wrap for this video, you guys. I hope you enjoyed the removal of the transmission and also replacing the clutch fork, throwout bearing, and now starter. Hopefully the Subi's back up on the road for a while yet with no other issues. If you liked today's video, please go ahead and like and subscribe to the video. Peace.